Before we start, tell me, which city are you watching from? Because maybe the next story I tell will be about your city. Now, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, leave a like and a comment, and watch this story till the end. Because trust me, the ending will shock you. I used to babysit for extra money during college. It was easy cash, a few hours of Netflix and snacks while the kids slept. But there was one night, one house, that changed everything I thought I knew about being safe inside four walls. It was a Friday evening in late October, the air outside sharp and cold, the kind that makes streetlights glow a little more yellow. The mother, Mrs. Carter, was friendly but hurried. Her husband was out of town, and she had some charity event she couldn't miss. Their daughter, Lily, was 6, quiet, polite, with those big glassy eyes kids get when they're too shy to talk much. I arrived around 6:30 p.m. The house sat on the edge of the neighborhood, where the streetlights didn't quite reach. Beyond their backyard was a wall of trees, black silhouettes swaying against a gray sky. As Mrs. Carter grabbed her purse, she said the usual things. She's already had dinner. She goes to bed by 8. There's leftover pasta if you get hungry. Then she paused at the door. Oh, and don't answer the landline if it rings. We get prank calls sometimes. I nodded, half listening. I figured she meant telemarketers. By 7, Lily was showing me her drawings in the living room. Crayon houses, stick figures, normal stuff. But one picture stood out. It was a crude sketch of a tall man, all black, standing behind a little girl drawn in blue. I asked, "Who's that?" She looked at it for a moment. "That's the man who talks to me at night." I smiled nervously. "Oh, like an imaginary friend?" She shook her head slowly. "He's not a friend. He said he doesn't like you." The way she said it, calm, matter of fact, sent a chill through me. I laughed it off, but something in the air changed. The quiet of the house felt heavier. At 8, I tucked her in. She wanted the closet light on, so I left it glowing faintly through the crack in the door. As I walked back down the hall, the wooden floors creaked under my socks, that old house moan that sounds too close to footsteps. By 8:30, I was on the couch scrolling my phone when the landline rang, a dull, sharp sound in the silence. I froze. I remembered what Mrs. Carter said. Don't answer the landline. The ringing stopped after 4 tones. Then, a few seconds later, it started again. I stared at the phone on the side table. No caller ID, just private number. The rational part of me thought, okay, probably spam, but my chest felt tight. Against my better judgment, I picked up. Hello? Static, then breathing. I almost hung up. Then a man's voice came through, low and gravelly. "She's not sleeping." I went cold. "Who is this?" No response, just more breathing. I slammed the phone down, heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I ran upstairs. The hall was darker than before, the closet light still on, casting that strip of yellow across the carpet. Lily was lying still, eyes open. "Hey, did you call someone?" I whispered. She shook her head. Then, almost dreamily, she said, "He said he'd come when you pick up." My blood turned to ice. I didn't know what to say. I checked the window, locked. Checked under the bed, empty. Just as I was about to tell myself I was overreacting, I heard it, a faint tap, from downstairs. It wasn't the kind of sound the house makes when it settles. It was deliberate, like someone lightly tapping glass. I crept toward the staircase, phone in hand. The living room below was dark except for the glow of the TV screensaver bouncing pale light around. Tap, tap, tap. It was coming from the back door. There was a full-length glass pane next to it, covered by thin curtains. My reflection in the glass was faint, but something else, something behind it, shifted. I pulled the curtain just an inch aside. Outside, on the porch, was a man. He was standing completely still, facing the door. His face was pale under the porch light. I could only make out dark, sunken eyes and lips pressed tight. His hand was raised, fingers brushing the glass. I stumbled backward, nearly dropping the phone. I called out, "Who are you?" He didn't move. Then slowly he tilted his head to the side, like he was studying me. My first instinct was to grab my bag and run with Lily, but she was upstairs, and the stairs were right behind the door. If I screamed, he'd know where she was. I backed away step by step, keeping my eyes on the glass. He didn't follow, didn't knock, just stood there. Then the landline rang again. I nearly jumped out of my skin. The sound echoed through the house, shrill and cutting. When I turned back toward the door, he was gone. The porch light flickered once, then went out. I stood frozen in the dark living room, my heart thundering in my chest, until I forced myself to pick up the phone again, this time trembling. Hello? The voice was different now, quieter, closer. Don't turn around. The line went dead. I didn't move. Not at first. The voice on the phone, low, calm, certain, echoed in my head. Don't turn around. Every instinct screamed to look to make sure no one was there, but my body locked up. The house was silent again except for the faint hum of the refrigerator. I could hear my own breathing, short and uneven. Finally, I forced myself to move, one slow step toward the kitchen counter, where my cell phone was charging. I needed to call the police. I didn't care if this was some sick prank. Something was wrong. But when I reached the counter, my phone was gone. The charger was still plugged in, the cord dangling. My phone wasn't there. I spun around, scanning the room. The living room, the hallway, everything looked the same, but it felt different, like the air had thickened. Then faintly from upstairs came a sound, whispering. Lily's room. I ran for the stairs, adrenaline pushing every step. The wood creaked under my weight, and halfway up I froze again. The whispering stopped. Lily? I called softly. No answer. I reached the top, every hair on my arms standing straight. The hallway stretched out in front of me, that thin beam of yellow light still leaking from her closet door. Sweetie, are you okay? Nothing. I opened the bedroom door slowly. Lily was sitting up in bed, eyes wide, clutching her stuffed rabbit. Who were you talking to? I asked. She didn't answer. She just pointed toward the closet. I swallowed hard. The closet door was cracked, maybe an inch. Just enough for shadows to move if someone was inside. I crossed the room, heart hammering, and reached for the knob. My hand was shaking so badly I could barely grip it. With one quick motion, I yanked the door open. Empty. Just toys, clothes, boxes, nothing out of place. I turned back to Lily. See? Nobody! But she wasn't looking at the closet anymore. She was staring behind me. Then she whispered, "He said you shouldn't have answered the phone." I spun around. The closet light flickered once and went out. Darkness swallowed the room. "Okay," I said, forcing my voice to stay calm. "We're going downstairs, now." I scooped her up, her tiny arms wrapping around my neck. As I stepped into the hall, the sound of footsteps echoed below us. Slow, dragging, coming from the living room. Not creaking wood this time. Actual, deliberate steps. Someone was in the house. I tightened my grip on Lily and backed toward the bathroom at the end of the hall. I shut the door quietly and locked it. My hands were slick with sweat. "Shh," I whispered, pressing a finger to her lips. She nodded, trembling. We waited. For a few moments there was nothing. No sound, no movement, just the quiet hum of the vent above us. Then, the creaking started. The stairs. One slow step at a time. Creak, creak, creak. Each sound louder than the last, until it stopped just outside the hallway. I held my breath. Lily's small hand clutched at my shirt, twisting it tight. Then something brushed against the other side of the bathroom door. A faint scraping sound, fingertips dragging against the wood. I grabbed the toilet lid and tried to stay quiet. I could hear breathing, low, steady, on the other side. Then a whisper, barely audible through the crack near the handle. "Why'd you look?" I felt the blood drain from my face. Whoever was out there, they knew I was listening. I pressed my back against the wall, holding Lily close, not daring to make a sound. The breathing went on for another 10, maybe 15 seconds. Then, silence. Minutes passed, or maybe hours. I lost track of time. My legs started to cramp. Finally, I heard the faint squeal of the front door opening downstairs, then closing again. Whoever it was had left, or wanted me to think they did. I waited another 5 minutes before moving. Carefully, I opened the door, every muscle tensed. The hallway was empty. The faint yellow light from the closet still glowed under Lily's door again, flickering gently like nothing had happened. We crept downstairs together. The living room was dim, only the glow of the digital clock on the cable box lighting the space. 11:42 p.m. The curtains by the back door were fluttering slightly. I walked closer and saw my phone lying on the floor just in front of the door. The screen was cracked like it had been dropped. One new notification blinked. One new video recorded. My throat went dry. I picked it up and opened the gallery. It was a video, a short clip, maybe 10 seconds. The thumbnail showed the back of my own head. I hit play. It was me, sitting on the couch earlier, scrolling through my phone. The footage was grainy, handheld, slightly shaking. Whoever was recording had been inside the house, standing just behind me. Then the camera panned up slightly. You could see my reflection in the TV screen, and behind me, a tall, shadowy figure standing at the edge of the living room. I dropped the phone. It hit the hardwood floor with a dull thud. Lily started to cry quietly. I scooped her up again and bolted for the front door. I didn't care what was out there. I just needed out of that house. But when I turned the deadbolt, the lock jammed. The keyhole was filled with something soft. I looked closer. A wad of wet paper, maybe tissue, shoved inside. And written on it, in black ink, were 3 words: "Stop looking back." That's when the TV in the living room flickered to life behind us. White static filled the screen, loud and hissing. Then, for just a second, an image appeared. A man's face, blurred, pale, staring straight into the camera, then black. The static cut off. The house fell silent again, and from somewhere behind the kitchen, faintly, the landline began to ring. The landline kept ringing, that sharp, shrill sound cutting through the silence like a blade. Each tone made my chest tighten. I wanted to ignore it. I knew I should ignore it. But something inside me, maybe fear, maybe some awful instinct, whispered that if I didn't pick up, it wouldn't stop. Lily was shaking in my arms, her face buried against my shoulder. The phone rang again, and again. I set her down gently, whispered, "Stay right here," and forced my legs to move toward the kitchen, where the old wall-mounted landline hung like a relic. The caller ID flashed the same message as before. Private number. My hand hovered over the receiver. My breathing sounded too loud. Then, before I could decide, the phone stopped ringing. Silence. I exhaled shakily, and then suddenly, the TV turned on again behind me. Not static this time. It was the video feed from the baby monitor camera in Lily's room, except the angle was wrong. The camera was facing the doorway, not the bed, and someone, tall, dressed in black, was standing in the hall outside the room. He wasn't moving, just standing there. I froze, my heart hammering so hard it made me dizzy. That feed was live. The figure tilted his head slowly toward the lens, toward me, as if he knew I was watching. Then the screen went black again. I didn't think. I grabbed Lily, sprinted toward the front door, and rammed my shoulder against it until the latch gave way with a snap. The cold night air hit me like a slap. We stumbled barefoot across the porch and down the driveway, my phone still clutched in my hand. I called 911, babbling the address, barely able to breathe. The dispatcher's calm voice was the only thing keeping me from breaking down completely. She told me to stay on the line, to stay outside until officers arrived. We waited near the curb, under the flickering streetlight. Every sound, crickets, the rustle of leaves, felt like it was coming from him. Within minutes, red and blue lights filled the street. 2 police cruisers pulled up, tires crunching over gravel. The officers moved quickly, sweeping the yard and the house with flashlights. When one of them came back to me, his face looked puzzled. "There's no one inside," he said. "Doors were locked from the inside, no sign of forced entry." My knees nearly gave out. "But," I stammered, "the video, there was someone." He glanced at my cracked phone. "Can I see it?" I handed it to him, still open to the gallery. The video was gone. He scrolled through my photos, then looked back at me. "You sure you didn't imagine it? Sometimes stress can—" "I didn't imagine it," I snapped. My voice cracked mid-sentence. "There was a man. He was inside. He called the house." The other officer, a younger guy, was still checking the backyard with his flashlight. Sir," he called out, "you might want to see this." We followed him around the side of the house. He was shining his light at the living room window, the one near the couch where I'd been sitting earlier. On the glass, written in the condensation, were words traced by a finger. "I told you not to look." The older officer exhaled quietly and muttered something under his breath. They searched the woods behind the house for nearly an hour, but found nothing. No footprints, no signs of anyone hiding out there. Mrs. Carter came home around 1 a.m., panicked and confused. She hugged Lily so tight the girl started to cry again. The officers told her everything: the phone calls, the video feed, the writing on the window. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. "There shouldn't be a landline. We had it disconnected months ago." I stared at her. "What?" She nodded. "We only use our cell phones now. The phone hasn't worked since August." The officer and I exchanged looks. He walked back into the kitchen and picked up the receiver. The line was dead. Not even static. Just silence. When they finally let me leave, it was after 2 a.m. I drove home with my hands still shaking on the wheel. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that face in the monitor, that slow, tilting stare. For days afterward, I kept checking the news, expecting some story about an arrest or a break-in nearby. Nothing. Then, a week later, I got a text. No number, no contact name. Just a blank message with an attachment. It was a photo of me, taken from the living room window. I was sitting on the couch that night scrolling my phone, exactly like before. Only this time it wasn't a screenshot from a video. It was a new picture. The timestamp showed it was taken yesterday. My stomach dropped. I looked at the window next to my couch, the same one from that house. And for the first time, I realized how easy it would be for someone to stand outside and watch. I moved out of my apartment 2 weeks later, changed my number, quit babysitting altogether. But every now and then, late at night, I'll catch the faint sound of a phone ringing. Not my phone. An old, distant tone, muffled and fading. And sometimes, if I glance at a window just before I turn off the lights, I swear I can see him, just standing there, waiting, watching. If you made it this far, thank you for watching till the end. Now I have to ask, what would you have done in my place? Would you have picked up the phone? Let me know in the comments below. And make sure to subscribe, like, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next terrifying true story. Because the next one might happen closer to home than you think.